Good morning and welcome back. Well, it was a 1975 hit and Australia first fell in love with the Little House on the Prairie. Over 9 seasons, the wholesome show became a ratings hit down under.
It was so good. And Netflix rebooting the series this year. The Ingalls family still resonating all these years later. But when it comes to a classic, nothing beats the original. It was just over 50 years ago that we met the fine folk who lived in the Little House on the Prairie.
Well, Ingalls family, as soon as you get done soaking your feet, we got a wagon to unload.
We're home?
We're home.
Based on books by the real-life Laura Ingalls, the show followed a fictionalised Laura and her family, capturing a snapshot of pioneer life in the US.
Can we go in now?
Not just yet.
Charles!
But what's a leading character without a nemesis?
Country girls.
Alison Angrim played Nellie Olsen for 7 seasons, the sharp-tongued frenemy.
My pa works hard. So does a mule.
The stakes were raised when Almanzo arrived, played by Dean Butler.
Wish me luck.
I'll do better than that. Almanzo Wilder's kiss of luck. Never wipe that off.
Yeah. Something must be wrong with my eyes. I thought I saw you kiss that little girl.
Good luck. She's got a big test today.
He caught the eye of both Laura and Nellie, but it was Laura who ultimately got the guy. Actors Alison and Dean, aka Nellie and Almanzo, join us now from LA. Alison, just seeing that back, I can see you're already getting emotional. 50 years of wonderful memories, no doubt.
I'm laughing. I'm still watching the falling into the mud and the rolling around and all of the. So does a horse and so does a mule. And I'm still laughing. I'm sorry, it's still funny. 50 years
it's so good. You've said that playing Nellie. I mean, we sort of love. A villain might be too strong, but as we say, a nemesis. A sort of. She was a bit snooty, wasn't she? Was it a challenge to relate to that? How did you feel like playing her at the time?
I know I should say yes. It was terribly difficult. I could hardly do it, but the reality is it was a blast. I loved every single minute of it. No, it was very easy. I just, as soon as I read the script at the audition, I went, oh, yeah, it's the villain. And I jumped in with both feet and was so happy to in every episode to do all these things.
It is so good. Hey, Dean, we know that people get very invested in on-screen romances. Now, your arrival on the show, it was a huge deal, wasn't it? What was that audience reaction at the time?
I think the reaction at the time was really good. I didn't get any sense that there was any bump on it. I think the way Michael did it was chaste and clean and sweet and all of that. I think the stronger reaction has come more recently with all the issues that we've had in the United States with things like the Epstein files and young girls being taken advantage of. And I think that sort of changed the complexion of it. I don't think you could ever do that casting today. No, I think that would just really be impossible.
A different time, Dean, but that's kind of the point, isn't it? Because this show, yeah. I mean, there was an innocence to it, a wholesomeness, and that's why it does resonate still with audiences, do you think, Dean?
Oh, no, absolutely. I think it reminds us of a time where we get to think of it as a time that life was simpler. And it certainly wasn't easier, but it may have been more, might have been greater clarity in that time than perhaps we have today.
Alison, your performance was so fantastic. It was incredible. But is it true that people then had trouble separating you, the real-life actor, from Nellie, the character?
Oh, it is still. Absolutely. I think people are a little more sophisticated now, but back then, indeed, I had people throw things at me during the Hollywood Christmas parade. I got hit with a soda. Very insane. Now I think people have a little more sense. I guess they see all of us celebrities talking on the internet. They feel they know us, so they have some idea. But I still meet people who are actually frightened when they're introduced to me because their memory is so strong of being frightened of me as a child.
Dean, talk us through the hair, because you were kind of on the prairie, but yet had this wonderful blow-dried hair. How was that even possible back in those days?
There was no blow dryer, Eddie. It's just the way it was. I just want to say, Allison May had food thrown at her. I had underwear thrown at me. I had panties thrown at me occasionally. But I mean, these things happen. Television is an amazingly powerful entity. When you're on television, amazing things happen. It's just been this remarkable gift
that's
in my
the life
life
of
and in
a
Allison's
heartthrob.
life. It's just been great.
Yeah, we're in people's homes. I mean, they take everything very personally that we say and do on this show.
Allison, there has
Yes.
now been, of course, this reboot, and you do appear in an episode of that as well. How was that returning to the scene for you?
It was fantastic. I was so excited. I like to be connected to all things Prairie. I've read the books online to people on Facebook. I go to all the Prairie historical sites. So when I got the chance to be tied into this, and then, of course, when I got the script and I was playing this very crazy kind of terrifying character, I was like, yay, I'm awful again. I couldn't be happier. And the response has been incredible. I like the new show. It's very different from ours. It is shot differently. It's just everything about it is so different. It's very modern in the way it's done. But there's still some really good stuff in there that I think, I always say, how many Star Treks do we have? Surely we can have more than one Little House on the Prairie.
And I feel like Luke Bracey actually took that hair inspiration. Of course, Aussie actor. Dean, do you love the new show too?
Yeah, but Australian. That's right. We get an Australian with such hair.
Yeah, and I think he's doing a really nice job too. I think, filling Michael Landon's shoes. And look, I've read that he didn't watch the original show. He didn't know what it was. I mean, whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I think he's done a really nice job. And I think he presents Pa, as perhaps a more nuanced man. It's a much more nuanced view. It is not this it's not totally sweet. There's more of an edge to what's going on in this new one, but I think they're doing a really nice job. I love the family singing in this one.
Yes.
I love that they sing these songs together. I think that's straight out of the books, and I think that's a wonderful addition to the show.
It's so lovely to speak to you both. Thank you so much for joining us and taking a trip down memory lane in a wagon. We really appreciate it. And you can hear more from Allison and Dean on their podcast, Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary Pod. I just watched the new series with Molly, and it does delve much more into those historical elements, but it actually makes you want to go back and
Perhaps
see the original.
not quite as wholesome as the original?
Maybe not appropriate for a 7-year-old, but it was good times.
Okay.